Welcome to our first episode of my Life at the Beach podcast. Today, my guest is going to be Luke Gordon. Luke is one of our new realtors here at Peace Sotheby's Real Estate in Pawleys Island. We're going to talk to Luke a little bit, and we're going to give you some facts and figures about what's going on with real estate right now. And then Luke's got a great story to tell you about how he grew up in Pawleys Island. So, Luke, how you doing today? It's good to see you.
Very good.
Thanks for joining the podcast. So, Luke, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up, and how did you get to Pawleys Island?
So I spent the first 5 years of my life in Camden, South Carolina, but then we moved back to the beach, and I was born and raised here at the beach, hunting, fishing, and born and raised in Pawleys Island, South Carolina.
Okay. So you left and went to Camden for a little bit, but came back.
Mm-hmm.
You did a lot of surfing growing up, right? And can you tell us a little bit about the surfing and where that took you to?
So I was a professional surfer pretty much all my life, traveling internationally. And now I kind of am taking a new chapter in my life and moving back home and exploring real estate and what it has to offer.
Yeah, Luke's a little bit humble that he's a award-winning surfer. He was a champion surfer. So, but we're so happy to have him here at Peace Sotheby's now. So, how long have you been a realtor?
Couple months.
And what do you think about it so far?
It's great.
Okay, cool. So why did you become a realtor?
I became a realtor because I am very passionate about the area here in Pawleys Island and where I come from and everything that this place has to offer.
Great. And I certainly agree with that. So today, what Luke and I want to talk about is why you should buy a house now. Some people we had this great time right during COVID, during 2020, 2021, when people were just buying real fast. And then the interest rates went up and people stopped buying as fast. So what Luke and I want to talk about today is why you should still buy, why it's still a good time to buy. And so Luke, how do you feel? Why do you think people should still buy a house right now, especially in our area, in the Georgetown, Orange County area?
I think they should buy now because even though there are high interest rates, you can always refinance versus, paying rent or putting your money somewhere where you have zero equity or ownership into anything.
Yeah. And I've heard it said too that, buying a house is like getting in on anything. You just have to get in. You can't be afraid or you'll be sitting back on the sidelines being afraid forever. But once you get in, you own that real land, you own that property, and you can start building some equity. And it's a great way for you to use your money, your hard-earned money. So, Luke, you're a pretty young guy. What are you at, 26, 23? 23? Okay. So if somebody handed you $400,000, $500,000 around and said, buy a home somewhere in this area, where do you think you'd like to buy a home?
That's a good question. They're all great places. I would try to find somewhere around Pawleys Island, maybe.
In Woodville, I think.
Yeah, maybe anywhere around Hagley if it's possible. But I really love Georgetown. I love the Maryville area.
There's a lot of people in Georgetown right now. Historic area. Let's name some of the great neighborhoods in Georgetown that some of the young people are living in. So you got Willowbank. Where else?
Kensington.
Yep. And you said Maryville.
Maryville.
Yep. And there's some of the things you have that are great about Georgetown are you got Front Street and all the restaurants and bars and places on Front Street. And then where do you put your boat in Georgetown?
There's a few places. You have East Bay Park,
right,
which is beautiful, tennis courts, playground. You have the Sampit, which is just over the Maryville Bridge.
I think that's the Carol Campbell boat landing or something like that.
I'm not sure what
I think it's the Carol Campbell boat landing. Okay,
yeah.
And then
And then you have South Island Ferry, which is
wow, that's great. That's very cool.
Yeah, which is way down South Island Road, and there's put in at the ferry there, and you're right there at Santee.
That's really a very cool place. And there is a ferry that can take you over to South Island. I've never been over there, but I'm dying to go do a day trip. Have you ever been over to South Island?
I've never been over
I really would like to see that. It's a great place to see. But so if you're wanting to buy a house right now or sell a house, call us or call Luke. Luke will give you great service. He is here to serve you and listen to your needs and get you the right place. And he knows all the places on the case. But since you've been so patient, listen to us talk about real estate. Luke's going to give us a great story about when he grew up and what he liked to do when he was growing up in Pawleys Island. So I asked Luke, I said, how did you start surfing, or what did you do in the summertime growing up? And said, go ahead and tell us everybody what you were doing.
So it's summertime, and I'm probably in like 6th grade or something, and we had our tight little group of boys.
Like how many friends do you think you're talking about here?
Probably 8 or 10 of us, and we'd all.
You want to give a shout out to any of your friends?
There's too many. I would miss some. Y'all know exactly who you are.
Okay.
It was very fun though. We would get dropped off, early in the morning around 8 o'clock or so.
Like near the pier?
Mm-hmm. Right there,
the
first street at Pawleys Island,
mm-hmm.
and parents would go to work, and we'd be at the beach, all day until 5 o'clock, and get picked up and go home and do the same thing. But we had a routine every summer, and
So what kind of things did you take to the beach with you?
So we would pack our lunch and drinks in a cooler. We all had our little cooler, a couple chairs, and our little beach umbrellas and our surfboards, and we'd get down to the beach, and before it got too hot, we'd bring a shovel or something, and we'd dig our pits like down in the sand, and we'd have like a little room area, and the sand was nice and cool. Once you get deep enough, it gets a little wet and moist.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Were you in the wet sand or the dry sand? Which sand were you in?
Like, not up at the dunes, but I was still in the dry sand and the soft sand.
Mm-hmm.
So when the tide came in, it didn't come into our pits and flood us out.
Didn't ruin your pit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that was really fun, and it was 2 people per pit, and we would kind of like all rotate, and for a week it'd be, this buddy's with me this week, and then next week you'd be like, I'm gonna room with this guy for the week. It was fun.
So was that like your ideal summer?
That was a very good summer.
Uh-huh,
That was a core summer.
You were never worried about. There were never strangers. Nobody bothered you. It was just you and your buddies. Just having a great time at the beach.
Yeah, every day.
Did you ever get sunburned?
Yes, absolutely. we stayed sunburned.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But the good time, I think I have good memories just like you, just being outside as a child, running, playing with friends. So that's fun things. But there's a lot of good things to do outside here in our area. So I hope you enjoyed listening to us today and talking a little bit about real estate, a little bit about life on the coast. If you'd like to get in touch with Luke to purchase a property or to sell a property, Luke, what's your cell phone number?
My cell phone number is 843-359-5550.
Okay, and we can list that in the comments. But thank you so much for listening today, and we hope you have a great day wherever you are. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Bye.